It's dark outside and I've been up in this bitch, getting fried. Welcome back to Bestie After Dark, where I tell your worst or most interesting dating, romance, and bedroom storytime submissions. As a reminder, if you would like to get your story to me, please visit ycbestie.com/bad, all lowercase, to fill out my form. If you would like to see all of Bestie After Dark all at once, you can visit my website, ycbestie.com, to subscribe for early access on Saturdays, as well as to support me as a creator, which I greatly appreciate. Or you can visit my YouTube at ycbestie on Mondays. Bestie After Dark is also available on all major podcast platforms if you'd rather listen to your gossip. The title of your After Dark story time is Foot Freak Fiasco. Me and this guy I met on Facebook dated for quite some time. About 6 months into the relationship, I discovered one of his secret proclivities. We'll call him David. David was a divorced dad of 2 boys. We met on Facebook. I lived 4 hours away, and he drove all the way to me when we met. About 1.5 months after he asked me to be his girlfriend, he had asked me to move in with him. Did you say yes? 2 weeks later, I got a U-Haul and I made the 4-hour drive to move in. Of course you did. Okay. 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 I didn't think anything of it at the time, but he was weirdly interested in rubbing my feet. Babe, can I be so real with you? I don't know. A lot of people are not going to like what I'm about to say, but I think that is crazy. How long had you known this person that lived 4 hours away that you met on the internet before you were like, sure, I'm going to uproot my entire life and move in with you? I just don't get that. And I can't say what period of time is more appropriate to do that, but I don't know, 6 months, a year, an amount of time that can be described in years. 6 months could be half a year, okay? We're not even talking about a quarter here, it sounds like. I need you guys to stop moving in with romantic partners that are effectively strangers to you. Please, God, I'm begging. Okay? I didn't think anything of it at the time, but he was weirdly interested in rubbing my feet, all of the time. And it seemed innocent enough until my socks started going missing. See? If you just waited, you would have noticed your fucking socks going missing in your own living space. I'm sorry. It turns out he had a thing for dirty socks. I was uncomfortable, but honestly, what's the harm in wanting to sniff someone's socks after a long day's work? Can I be so honest with you? I actually don't disagree. Is it fucking weird? Yes. Is it fucking odd and strange and weird? Yes. Okay, and y'all will be like, no shaming, no shaming. Am I saying not to do it? No, but it is fucking weird. You're gonna look me in my face and you're gonna say that that's not weird? Don't lie. Do not lie. And so anyways, do I think it's fucking odd and weird? Yes. Would I probably let my partner do it? Yeah, because who cares? I have a banister here now, and my cat Basil, he's bad as fuck. If you follow me on social media, you may have seen at some point that Basil is just bad. He's just mischievous. He's a little tuxedo kitty cat. He was the runt of a runt, and he likes to get on my fridge. He likes to do bad shit. And I just was watching him lean his body between the fucking bars of the banister. It's the same height basically as the fridge. So he's totally fine. I'm scared of what happens once he realizes that he can jump from there. But we'll deal with that when we get there. Back to your story. Then, about 6 months into it, it got to the point where I had to start washing them immediately or hiding them myself until I did laundry. At one point, he wanted to yank it with my feet, wearing my dirty, smelly socks. Okay, so he's not into feet, he's into socks. That is interesting. He's just like really into like sweaty foot smells is crazy as someone with hyperhidrosis on like her feet and hands. I cannot imagine. My shit be wet, bro. But there was a morning I woke up and he was just doing it. He had put my dirty socks on me while I was sleeping and used my feet to handle himself while I slept. I didn't notice until I felt my feet get warm and wet. Don't make me say it, bitch. Doing anything without your consent is what? It is not like a standard fucking thing. It is a very, very, very relevant that he's fucking getting off to this. And not only that, he got himself off with your feet. Honey, I know he did it in a weird fucking way. But you and I both know that he assaulted you. You were asleep. You could not consent unless the two of you had that fucking what is it? Free use. I'm not here to shame nobody's proclivities. Okay, whatever. Yes, I am, but that's not what we're talking about here. He assaulted your feet with his wiener. Under the prison. He put socks on you to do it. So basically, originally where we were gonna put him under the prison, we actually decided that there should be a floor underneath that. I straight up asked him if he was into feet, and he would say no, he was into socks. I kind of figured as much, but I hate to hear it confirmed. He would buy socks specifically for this purpose. I was wondering if he was like replacing your socks. So wait, I have questions. Hold on. Wait, no, we need to address this here and now because you're about to say something else insane. Was he into specific colors, textures, brands? I have questions, but I'm scared that the sock community is going to come out in droves like the wedgie people did. The wedgie people really, they were a lot. People that are into wedgies are very, very into them. I need to know though, do sock people have sock preferences and what are they? Because me personally, I have many whimsical socks that have like designs and shit on them. Are those like ribbed for his pleasure? I needed to let that one off. Back to your story. It happened more than once, and I just didn't know about the others until after the fact. Again, he did it repeatedly without your consent, without your knowledge. Moral of the story, I'm a dumbass. Never trust a man that's in denial of being a foot freak. That guy stole all of my socks when I left, too. He stole all your socks? Like, that's just so shitty. I'm so sorry that happened to you. I hate him. I might have gotten too fried before recording this episode. Oh, Jesus Christ. Am I the asshole for telling my friend her coochie cat stinks? Okay, so hear me out. I had a best friend who I had known for many years. We were very close, and it was normal for us to recap the nights we went out when the other couldn't attend. Anyways, I'm at a party, and a mutual friend of ours pulls me into the bathroom. She goes, me and my friend's name hooked up after a party last week, and her downstairs cooter cat smelled really bad. I'm not trying to be rude. I know that stuff happens, but I didn't know how to tell her, so I figured if I told her best friend, it would get back to her and she would take care of it. That's paraphrased, of course, but to me, she was basically trying to tell me to tell my friend. The next day, I'm recapping the night and I tell her what was said. You know, girl's name said that when the two of you hooked up, it smelled like your pH might be off. She said she told me because she knew it would get back to you. She wasn't like being rude or anything. She shrugged it off and said it was probably the beer that she drank that night. I go home after hours of hanging out, per usual, and I then get a text from her essentially saying I was being passive and told her to make her feel bad about herself. Like, huh? She goes on about how she would never tell me the rude things people say about me if she knew it would hurt my feelings. Now, I get where she's coming from. I do, but she was also mildly crushing on this girl, and I didn't want it to be a driving factor between them. It's not like the girl said it in a malicious way. It genuinely sounded like she wanted her to know for future interactions, and it is a normal thing to experience as a woman. Anyways, this girl ended our entire 7-year friendship over this and replaces me with the girl who told me to tell her. Am I the asshole for telling her? Do we not tell our friends when somebody is talking poorly about them, even though that's not what I think the case was here? This was 2 years ago, and I haven't seen or gotten a response from her since. You know, that is a sticky situation. I know that you're not the asshole. I can say that much. I actually think that she is the asshole, you know, for up and abandoning your friendship, for one. If the roles were reversed, I don't know if I would tell my friend, but I do think that a relevant factor here somehow, someone tell me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like all three of you are queer, right? So I don't know. I think that maybe that changes something, and that, like, at the very least there were two women involved in, like, the physical intimacy aspect, because I do know that, like, I mean, I don't know. If a man said that to me about one of my friends, would I tell her? I suppose so, and I suppose that I would say it in the way that you said it. Like, yeah, like your pH might be off. A little BV action. Like, I don't know. I don't think that you're the asshole here, and I think that it's interesting that she kind of, like, replaced you in her friendship circle with that same girl. Is my adopted father a creep? Am I overreacting? Hey, this is kind of weird for me. I don't usually do this, but I would like other opinions, and since it's anonymous, why not? Make Bestie After Dark the new Reddit. Okay, make Bestie After Dark the new our relationships. How every person that's in, like, a terrible relationship makes a fucking post on there. Hit me up. This is different. Locked in. Sorry, babe, you know part of this is that I'm, like, fried as fuck. So, I was adopted when I was 11 years old. I had been in foster care since I was 6. Nothing fazed me, but I was 11 and still a bit naive. I'm 21 now, for anyone wondering. So I'm adopted by this couple, and I don't like them very much, but I don't fight the adoption because I have an older brother who is a year older than me who really wants to be adopted. Side note, he was always the charismatic one, and I was the introvert. He would have been adopted a long time ago. Friend. Let's take a pause here, right? Because I understand what you mean by that. And also, you know, I have different life experiences. This is not one of them. But I do want to take a second and just be very clear that you, on your own, exactly how you are, exactly as you were then, are beyond worthy of love and of acceptance from others, of support. Okay. And so I think to say if the implication is that your brother would have been adopted and therefore like brought into a family sooner because he is more charismatic, you being more introverted by comparison does not make you any less worthy of having others in your life that are there for you, that love you, that support you. Okay? Okay. So we get adopted, and everything is mostly fine until I hit puberty. I'd always been allowed to wear my sleep clothes around the house. Usually it was shorts and a thick strap tank top. I'm still wearing a bra and shit. I'm not dressed immodestly or anything like that, and it's never been an issue. Then I hit puberty. Out of the blue, my adopted father, who we'll call Jay, tells me I'm dressing like a hoe and being immodest around the house. Okay, no biggie. I stop wearing my PJs in the living room. My adopted mom lets me wear tank tops and jeans around the house in the summertime. I'm not allowed to do that anymore either. Adoptive mom, we'll call her A, starts telling and reminding me to go put on more clothes before dad gets home. So I'm putting on clothes that I wasn't wearing before so that I'm more modest around Jay. It's giving creepy uncle at Thanksgiving, if you ask me. Yeah, I would say so. Anyways, I get old enough to start dating. Everything is extremely over-sexualized. I don't want to deal with it, so I don't date. So here's the other weird stuff that happens over the years. Jay was always very, very adamant that a woman or girl cannot sit on a man's lap without turning him on. I thought this was odd because he always wanted my little god sister to sit on his lap when she stayed with us. I had to sit in my brother's lap once and it wasn't a big deal, but when Jay found out, he lost his fucking shit and he accused me of trying to seduce my brother for the first time. He was always very concerned about boys liking me, and I'm not talking protective dad cleans the shotgun type of stuff. He would get angry. He would ban me from talking to any guy that I was interested in, which might have been good in some cases, but in most, it was just really odd. Also at this time, I'm like 14, and I'm regularly being accused of trying to run off and get pregnant. So I'm grounded all of the time, so I won't do that. I was sheltered. I just wanted to hold a guy's hand. I wasn't even thinking about doing it. Side note number 2, I was also assaulted as a kid. I didn't get the birds and the bees talk until I was almost 17 because Jay and A assumed that I knew everything about it because I had been assaulted at 4 years old. Yeah. On a very different level, something similar happened to me where no one really ever sat me down and talked to me about physical intimacy. Because I had been assaulted when I was young. I was older than you, but yeah, I really hate that for you. There's a whole lot more in here that I hate, but I really hate that. I really offended Jay once because I told him I wasn't trying to attract or impress men his age. I was in that stage of puberty where clothes didn't fit right and I generally felt very ugly. Okay, so I was complaining to A about a dress that didn't fit me correctly. Jay walked into the room and tells me I'm so pretty, and he goes on and on about how he knows men find me attractive. And is telling me the names of some of his friends that have told him that I am attractive for my age or more mature than other girls. It really gave me an icky vibe, and it felt very out of character for him. I told him that I was not trying to attract men in their 40s. He got really mad and slammed things around the room and shit, and then he gave me the silent treatment for an entire week. I was also grounded. Basically, I'm wondering how other people interpret this. Am I overthinking because of what I went through as a young child, or did I actually have a reason to be concerned? Jay and A were terrible parents. I want to be clear about that. There were actually a lot more instances of Jay being creepy, but I'm not going to list them all. We'd be here all night. I'm actually currently no contact with them for a bunch of other reasons, but basically Jay wanted to know why I hate them so much, and I told them. My honesty hurt J&A's feelings, so they cut me off for a bit. I'm the one choosing the no contact now, though, and I'm still deciding if I'll ever have contact again. But right now, it's looking like a hard nope. I would stick with that. Swear I would. Like, there is a lot to get into here, for sure. But first of all, you're not overreacting. Okay? And if anything, you can tell me if I'm wrong. You can 100% tell me if I'm wrong. But I think that in cases of childhood assault of this nature, because in large part I can only speak from my own experiences, but it makes you kind of ignore your own nervous system, kind of gaslight yourself, if you will, where you're almost convincing yourself that like this is normal, this is fine, this is okay, as a way of like bubble wrapping your brain and your mind from having to fully process it, right? The thing that like really, really, really sticks out to me that I cannot get over, I cannot move past, is the sitting of the lap thing. I'm at a loss for words on that one. And I would actually go to say, I mean, it sounds like there are multiple instances where he is almost expressing jealousy of you not being interested in like him or his friends as like attractive or, but I would go to say that it sounds like he was expressing that same jealousy with you having sat on your brother's lap. And I really, yeah, I don't think that you're overreacting at all. In fact, I would recommend for you, friend, if you are willing and able, to seek out some professional mental health services and resources. I know that like you're here just for a sounding board. I appreciate and respect that, but there are times where things call for more than I'm able to offer you. And it sounds like you have a path towards healing that I hope you're able to go on. And I hope you are able to, at the very least, gain some additional confidence and certainty, right? Because you are making the right decisions for yourself, whatever they may be. And I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for joining me for another wonderful week of Bestie After Dark. I will see you next time. Bye!